is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Handoff middle. First down. Touchdown. And listen to the Cougar Nation.
Every Monday night, we break down the Cougars' last game and look ahead to next week. Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars, KSL News Radio.
It's good to be back, everyone. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte. We're holding it down. Season premiere edition, Season 2 of Cougar Nation, where we're taking your phone calls, interacting with you for another week of BYU football. Cougars going to be taking on the Salukis of Southern Illinois from Carbondale, Illinois. I learned in this prep for this game, a Saluki is a dog. I did not. I think I knew that. I've seen the logo.
They have a live Saluki at their home.
I believe
games.
so. The last time I remember BYU playing Southern Illinois in football or men's basketball was a NIT game back in 2000 when the NIT required they based the next round host on attendance. I was at that game. Bruce Weber was the head coach for the Salukis. BYU had Terrell Lede, but I digress. We're talking BYU and Southern Illinois football this weekend, 6 o'clock kick. We'll get the coverage started at high noon with Cougar Sports Saturday, and we are looking forward to another year of Cougar football every single week on Monday nights, 6 to 7. We're taking your phone calls and your text. And shout out to Texter 1506. He writes, I don't care who the quarterback is. I just want the Cougars to score 76 points to help me celebrate my 76th birthday this Saturday. Hey, happy early birthday to you. And hopefully the Cougars do get that done, Matt, and get 76 points on the board. Because I do think in this game.
Yeah, right. There's no way they get 76 points on the board.
I'm not expecting that.
That's not Kalani style.
The highest BYU has ever scored in one of these games against an FCS was 70 against Wagner in 2015.
Different coach.
BYU, they've scored a lot of points the last 4 in these. So, in Kalani Sitake, it's not like he's losing these games here, Matt.
I know. I'm just saying. The point I'm trying to make here is Kalani is not a run up the score kind of guy.
But this is the one game where you want a little bit of style points because I think Cougar fans want to see something that shows that's tangible proof that this team is different than last year, and I think a blowout win against a solid FCS team, because I think would make Cougar fans feel pretty good going out of LaVell Stadium on Saturday.
Before we get to the phone line, this season, if you want, you can watch us on YouTube. Live stream here in the studio. Just go to KSL News Radio on YouTube. You'll see the live stream. You can watch us there if you want to see me and Mitch get into some blows when we disagree. So just throwing that out there for the visual medium fans. YouTube here for Season 2. Back to the phone line, though. If this is what I think it is, I think we're in for a real treat. Michael from Texas. Michael, are you the guy who called in last year a couple times? Because we loved you, man.
I am.
There we
Welcome.
go. Let's go. Welcome back, Michael.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, so the only thing I really wanted to say was it's an interesting question you guys posed because, to be honest, it's unfair. We haven't had access to these guys. We don't know what they look like. You guys are the only ones that know whether Jake Retzlaff or Gary Bohannon should be starting. I just don't think we know. I do find it funny because, as you guys know, I did not grow up a BYU fan. I find it very funny how BYU fans are absolutely obsessed with their quarterbacks. It reminds me of I once had some cats that I couldn't get away from my trash can, and so I'd use a laser pointer to try to get them away, and they would become obsessed with the light, but they wouldn't know where the light was coming from. It was like a distraction. That's kind of how I feel like the quarterbacks are for BYU. Like, the quarterbacks are the least of our worries. I know, like, Keaton Slovis, like, he didn't perform great for us last year according to our standards, but he was just on an NFL team. I know he just got cut, but quarterback's one of the least of my worries on the team. I'm much more worried,
Really?
like, hey, is our left tackle going to hold up? Is our offensive line going to be better? Can we stop the run? Those are, like, the biggest concerns I have. I think as far as quarterbacks, like, I saw Jake Retzlaff move the ball. He dropped it a few times, but can he clean that up? I know I've seen Gary Bohannon move the ball. I don't think moving the ball is the question. I think the question more is, can we run the ball? Can we stop the run? I think quarterback for me is a secondary concern to some of the other issues that I think make a BYU football team good in this day and age. So,
Mike, Michael from
That's a good
Texas, always bringing the heat. We appreciate you. Great stuff there. It's a fair point. I mean, BYU's offensive line was a mess last year, and I'm bringing it up, Matt. I always reference it. They whiffed at times last year, and
They whiffed.
it was a nasty whiff. It was not good. When they line up, they mean business, and left to right, you're going to probably go Caleb Etienne at left tackle, left guard Waylon Lapuaho, center Connor Pay, right guard it's either Sonny Mocassini or Austin Leausa from Southern Utah, and then right tackle Braden Keim. I think that starting five is good. Second unit, though, it's light. So BYU better stay healthy, and they better be good on that offensive line to protect for the quarterback.
It's a great point. Ultimately, you need to have better line play if you want any of these guys to succeed. If there's no time to throw the ball, it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. If there's no holes to run through, it doesn't matter if LJ is fully healthy or not. It's going to be hard to run the football. We got another text, 1341. Roderick's response about keeping the quarterback choice a secret is being strategic is a bunch of psychobabble, Mitch. How many of the top 20 teams are afraid to let people know who their starting quarterback is? If you're good, you don't need to hide it.
I agree. I mean, when you got Jaron Hall, hey, we're going to announce it from the mountaintops. He's our starter. Zach Wilson, even though Roderick noted that there were emails that he was getting, hey, don't start Zach, he ultimately announced Zach was the starter. When you got something that's good, you want to boldly, proudly say, this is our guy. And I really do believe BYU wanted to do that in this. But again, this race, I do understand from the coach's perspective because we saw it in the media observation windows. Some really good days from Jake, some mediocre days from Jake, some great days from Gary, some really not good days from Gary. So I can see where they're coming from. There's no blue chip quarterback here. And this is a league too, Matt, where they've got great quarterback play this year. The Big 12, massive upgrade in quarterbacks this year with the addition of the four corner schools. So BYU's got to get this right and find a little bit of consistency with one, or dare I say two. It sounds crazy to say, but they got to just get some answers from that quarterback spot, because to me, you can't just say offensive line, that's the only thing that can be good for BYU. I just feel like you got to have a good quarterback to get to 6 wins, to get to a postseason bowl game. And that's got to be the minimum expectation for this team this year, is you got to get to 6.
I think either one of those guys can get you to 6, though. And
it's a tough schedule, Matt.
It is a tough schedule. However, I do take comfort in the fact that there's a lot of hard games at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. That's where you need Cougar Nation, who, by the way, Cougar Nation has showed up for the season debut. Love the calls, love the engagement. You guys are the best. They need to do that tenfold at Lavelle Edwards Stadium this fall to get an upset or two against really difficult, entertaining home schedule. Mitch, we'll get to that a little bit in the final segment as we kind of give our season win-loss record predictions before things get underway later this week. Let's get back out to the phone line, though, Mitch. This show it's called Cougar Nation for a reason. 801-575-8255. Our dear friend Linda. Linda, who should the starting quarterback be?
Jake.
Jake. Why Jake?
I think he needs another year because he's a senior, and then he'll be a senior, and I think that'll be good that he gets another chance.
Thanks, Linda. Appreciate it. And I think it's a point worth bringing up here is that Jake, if he starts this season, he's got another year of eligibility, Mitch. This isn't a case where you've got two guys with the same amount of time left at BYU. One guy is leaving at the end of the season regardless. The other guy could roll it back. And ideally, in a perfect world, you play the younger guy if he's earned it so that he can build upon that into his senior year.
I agree with that. And it would create job security, you would think, for Roderick and Kalani if Retzlaff had success. Because then you go into an offseason potentially this winter and you feel like, okay, you got your QB1. You can build on this and maybe level up again in year 3 in the Big 12. But there's a long way between now and then. And you just hope that they stay healthy and they can put their best versions of themselves out on the field and they can avoid the catastrophic mistakes. That was a big thing for Jake, was those mistakes he had. I mean, that Oklahoma pick will live in BYU infamy. It will be remembered for all the wrong reasons because it cost BYU the game. And that was think about the view of this season if you win that Oklahoma game. I do believe, in a weird way, that going 5-7 was maybe better long term for this program, but still, you would have rather had a win over Oklahoma and gone to a bowl game. Still, BYU is got to sort itself out with that quarterback situation, and we'll find out who that quarterback is officially from BYU's side coming up this Saturday. 6 o'clock kick, BYU and Southern Illinois. Cougar Nation brought to you by Central Bank. Central Bank CB Vault, Help Center for Startups and Entrepreneurs. Visit cbutah.com. Taking our final timeout, we'll get to more of your calls and texts and our predictions for BYU Southern Illinois next here on Cougar Nation.